Hi, it's Rich. I just wanted to show you guys what I had been working on in terms of asset development. So the first thing and most important thing is that I'm able to get files to you that you need in the right format. So I wanted to demonstrate that first. This is going to be a little bit of a lengthy video, but I think it's important for you to see the process I've gone through and to make sure that you understand what I did and how you could potentially import the same kinds of things. So first thing I did, I wanted to show you the landscape as the first thing, and you'll note that I'm using Unity 5.6.1.f.1, which is the very newest non-pro, non-beta version that you can get. So I wanted to do the landscape first because that's the easiest one. What I always find the best thing to do is just to go ahead and import in the textures, and I'm going to put them in the materials folder, and that goes relatively quickly. You can also see that when I actually do the real palm trees that I've got some more detailed kinds of things in the buildings. And that's something to talk with you guys about, whether we're going to use sprites or just flat things, etc. Because I know that you are looking to put this on a mobile device. So the kinds of things that you would put on a PC, high definition, are not the same kinds of things that you would potentially put on a handheld device, whether it's Android or an iDevice. All right, so there's a bunch of different formats that Unity will actually take. And depending on what you're importing, you can use a different procedure to bring those in. For the landscape, actually the best thing to do is probably just to use a program called Blender and bring it in directly. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, no matter what you do, it's going to want a little bit of love and care, and I'll show you that in a second. There's a couple things you got to do. I'm planning on doing this and then giving you guys camera-ready things when it comes to on the terrain side. On the character side, there's some things that you'll probably want to do because I know you guys are doing the characters. What we're going to do now is go ahead and drag and drop this, and you'll note that it did in fact pick up the landscape. You know, it's got these hills around the outside, and the only other thing in the scene were these palm trees. One thing you'll note is that the leaves, and again, the actual things I'm going to do are going to look much, much better. But I am going to go ahead and show you what you can do here. This is Tree Creator Leaves. You put that on, but notice that now all the leaves actually look appropriate. One thing I see is that the bark doesn't look great, so go back in here, open up that, and now all of a sudden you've got the you actually have the palm bark in place. All right, so you can see that it was relatively simple to do that, and now it looks good. Anyhow, I believe that we got the landscape piece nailed. So I can either bring that in either directly out of Blender as a blend file, or we can bring it in as a Kaleida or an FBX. Any of those will work. Okay, so now let's talk about bringing in people, which is a bit more complicated because you got to have the rigging involved with that. The only thing I'm going to drag and drop in are the textures. Go ahead and drop those into the material folder. And then you don't want to drag and drop the characters into the character models into. What you want to do instead is go over to Assets and Import. We'll go up here. We'll try one, and best one here's this Collide. So that this is a Kaleida, which is kind of a native export format for this kind of thing. And you'll see here in a second. So it's going to import. It takes a little bit of more time than when you drag and drop, but I will demonstrate that all of the bones and everything else are actually included. There we go. All right, so we'll go to rig. You pick humanoid, create from this model, apply, and everything thinking. Notice that it's already the right colors. Very important. I know that previously when they got dragged in, they weren't in the right colors. But I wanted to demonstrate that. And then when you go to animations, let me show you. You go here. So we'll go ahead and put our character in. He comes with some stuff you don't need to, but one of the things you can do is expand here, and you can take a look at his avatar. And you will note that all of these bones are associated with our buddy here. So any type of an animation that you want to do, it has pretty much everything you need already included. That's, again, very, 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 very important. So you can see the skeleton there. And I think that was an issue previously that we were trying to figure out, hey, what's going on? Why can't you rig anything? And the answer is you have to import it. So, and again, it got the colors pretty nice. Now, this brings up another topic. So here's all of the bones that are associated with that particular mannequin avatar. So one more thing to bring up. You don't necessarily have to use the bones supplied by these complicated models that I've got. There's also an option to rig from a. Let me show you what I'm talking about, rather than try to describe it to you in words. So under try 2, because I actually spent a lot of time over the last 120 hours or so trying to figure out how to do this exactly. So here we go. Here's a make human version, which actually just has the Unity bones in it. So if we look at rig, we'll go with humanoid. We'll create from this model. We'll apply it. And you will see when we go here, configure the avatar, it has exactly the bones that a lot of the game configurations have. It has those and only those. So one of the things you can do, and then this shows all the stuff that you can do with this kind of configuration. You can actually import this skeleton from this model once it's into other characters that you'd bring in, as long as you have them initially in that zeroed out or T pose. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up and ship it to you guys. There's a series of questions I have, though, and I'll try to get those to you in another format. It really has to do with what your intent for the game is, because the kind of terrain I come up with is going to depend entirely on the type of game. So if you're doing something that's a puzzler kind of thing, that's one set of terrain. If you're doing something where somebody's exploring an island, that's a different kind of terrain. So we probably ought to talk on the phone or something about that, truth be told. All right, that is it for me. Thank you all very much. Appreciate you watching, and I'll look forward to chatting with you soon.